So today's episode is Fear and Vulnerability with Simon Lovell. Simon is a business mentor that I've previously used who focuses a lot on mindset shifts. And the mindset shift that he gets most people to do is just allowing themselves to be vulnerable. This is something that I know a lot of guys struggle with because personally I've struggled with it. So without further ado, here is Simon Lovell. So hello Simon.
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad, thank you. I know there's a lot of people in the personal trainer industry and the fitness industry who will know exactly what you're about, but for those of you who aren't in that area yet, can you give us a bit of an idea about who you are, where you've come from, and kind of where you are now?
Wow, maybe, I don't know how far I should go back, but I started out as I guess a lot of personal trainers were kind of bullied at school, and I had that story, and I think that a lot of people who end up going into helping others actually had a bit of a struggle when they first started out. Not everyone, but for me, that was my journey. So I struggled at school, and then I went through life, and it was a struggle. I did some destructive things to my life. I gambled, did drugs. I was sabotaging myself through some of the pain I had in parts of my life. And so I actually started to make some changes and became a personal trainer and started to change more people's lives. I still had challenges going on actually during the time that I was a trainer, and then after doing that for about 8 years, having a published book and doing all of those types of things, I actually moved into helping fitness professionals and helping them grow their businesses and overcome some of the challenges that they've had and create more leaders and your podcast and the mission and your the purpose of this that you're doing is all about raising confidence, and it's such an important thing. And I think that once confidence starts to raise, then all areas of life start to improve, and I know that's certainly true for me in my journey. So that's a very brief overview of my timeline, but if I look at my journey, it's had so many ups and downs, and life throws us lots of ups and downs, and it will continue to. But that's part of growth. That's part of growing. And if you're listening to this and you're in this kind of growth phase, which is fantastic. It's all about learning, implementing, and growing. Then it's a good place to be because you're constantly evolving.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a very good point, and I think a lot of people will also think that once you get to a certain level, you stop growing. But I think it's important for people to realize that you're always looking to grow.
Yeah, and I think the reason for that is because you can influence more people. You grow to a certain level, and you can only help people at the level of which you've grown to. And so when you push and grow to that next level and continue to evolve, you widen the reach of people that you can help because you have more knowledge, you have gone through more challenges, you have looked for more obstacles to push through. Therefore, you become a different type of leader. And everyone can become a leader. Everyone listening to this, you are a leader. Everyone who decides to help others, everyone, there's only a certain amount of people in the world who want to do that. And so if you are educating yourself, if you are wanting to raise your confidence and grow, then, hands off to everyone wanting to improve, because not everyone wants to. And the world needs people who are willing to, but not only willing to, but also willing to share what they've learned.
Absolutely. I completely agree. If we take it back to the point where you started to change, what was the big driver behind that? What was the point where you think actually stuff has to change right now?
I think knowing, I was at a point in my life where I knew what my potential was, but the environment I was in and the things that I was doing didn't match up to what I knew I was capable of. And I was in pain and I was in frustration. And it gets to the point where you go, I've had enough. I can't do this anymore. And where most people will stay in that same situation, it takes making a difficult decision and overcoming a big fear to decide to get out of your comfort zone, to do something that the majority of most people won't do. And I had to actually get up and move, out of the area that I was living and move into a completely different area, from Exeter to Bath, and now from Bath to the United States. That was a different story. But But when I moved from Exeter to Bath, I was putting myself in a completely different environment, which when you do that and when you surround yourself with different people, you're naturally going to be influenced in a different way. And when you're around different people, you think different things. And when you think different things, you take different actions. And when you take different actions, the results that you get are different. So it's very important to recognize and understand where you're at and especially for guys, and this is very important, which is be willing to ask for help, because guys can be very proud and sometimes they don't want to open up and go, do you know what, I could do with some help here, because it's a very it's seen to be a non-masculine move, but it's not true, and if you're willing to get a coach, if you're willing to get help, if you're willing to put your hands up and say, do you know what, I'm not where I want to be, but I want to get to where I want to get to. Please show me. Please guide me.
Yeah, exactly. I think something you mentioned there that's a big part is changing the environment, and in particular changing the people you're around. Like for me personally, I needed to get into a very different social circle, and from there I could learn from them. There's that phrase, you're the sum total of the 5 people you're around most, and I think that's so applicable to this kind of situation.
But it's also the frequency, the energetic frequency that people are on, and everyone runs at a different frequency based on the self-development that they've done, and everyone has a different energy. So if you're around certain people and they're of a low energy, they're gonna take you to your energy unless you bring them to yours. So it can be twofold. You can bring people up. You can bring people up who are not of the same level, but you have to be very aware and understand, what am I doing the majority of the time, and that again, it all comes to down to confidence, how you hold yourself, how you hold your body, how you are being focused on exactly what level you want to play at. Because everyone can play at a certain level. If you're training in the gym, you can play at a certain level, or you can play at a completely different level. You can exercise, or you can really train. And I've started shifting myself in this way over the past, couple of months, from just going to the gym, which I used to do, to now really properly training like an athlete, training for a really significant outcome, and committing to a different level. And so changing your environment, changing the people you're around, investing in programs, all growth, it's a different level of commitment than most people are willing to put in. It means making some sacrifices. It means not going out on the weekends sometimes. It means not watching TV programs that aren't supporting you and pushing you forward. It means spending that time in the car instead of listening to music, listening to audiobooks and podcasts like this to improve upon your knowledge, so that you feel. Everyone does everything for a feeling, so it's all about how it makes you feel, and then most importantly, when you create the change, to then go and impact other people, because when you impact other people, you get a good feeling from that, because you're helping them. It helps you because it makes you feel good. It helps the other person because it helps them feel good, and also helps everyone observing feel good. So it's a threefold effect.
Yeah, I think what you said there kind of links quite nicely into my next question. It's kind of why do you think so many people don't take the leap to do what they want in their life?
Fear.
Yeah.
Fear of judgment and fear of failure. It's not being loved and not being good enough is directly in relation to fear. And so if you change the association of fear and actually look forward to it and understand that fear is just feedback and growth, once you change that association, I actually look for things that are uncomfortable, because I know that they stretch me. But you have to train yourself into that pattern. When you feel it in your body, and it's like, I don't want to go train, but then you do it anyway, and then you feel good afterwards, you start to rewire your brain into a positive association towards the things that are uncomfortable.
Okay, that's perfect. Do you think there has to be pain for people to change?
No, I think that there can be pain, but also there can be inspiration and motivation. So seeing how other people have grown and what their growth has been, and people are being inspired by that.
Okay, so if you're in the same situation you were in now, how would you go about seeking out those changes?
I would. It's all about role models. It's all about finding people that are ahead of you and know more and are where you want to be. If you want to be in a fantastic relationship, then find out what people in a fantastic relationship are doing right. If someone has the body that you want, then seek a good mentor, seek a good coach. And so for me, personal growth and building confidence is not just about tackling one thing. It's about being relentless in tackling multiple areas. If ever I have a challenge in my life, whatever area it is, business, relationships, spiritual, whatever the challenge comes up, I just go relentless on educating myself, reading, going to forums, and just immersing myself. And that's a really important word, immersion. I go and immerse in complete immersion into that area. So oftentimes I don't really know what created the change because I've done so many things. Okay, but most people just do one thing and then go, well, that didn't work, and then they stop. That's not a success principle. That's not a principle which is going to separate yourself. The strategy is be relentless and go and be focused. Because when you focus on something with complete and utter dedication, you will get there. If you want to move country, if you want to get the body that you want, if you want to, open and start your own business, if you don't have the focus and also the belief that it's going to happen, it will never happen. So when you focus, when you have the belief, when you are certain that you're going to get there, you have to understand anything is possible. But it all starts with a thought. And sometimes we need to take ourselves into an environment where we get good thoughts. And if you're around people that don't make you feel good, you're generally not going to have any good thoughts to be able to manifest the things that you want in your life. So this confidence process is actually much more than just lifting weights, than just eating the right types of foods. It's really about getting into the right mindset and conditioning yourself in a way that most people don't.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And even if you've got those surface level goals of I want to look like this, there's always something that's either deeper down or very much on the surface that you want to tackle.
Yes.
Yeah. So
here's the thing too. Sorry, as you grow, and as you get more confident, and as you start to take more actions that are uncomfortable, and as you start to push through resistance, you're gonna get more challenges arise, which are gonna create more quote unquote problems. But that's a good thing because it means that you're growing. Very important. Because oftentimes what we can feel is, okay, well, I don't want to take it to the next level. And there's actually a really good book called The Big Leap. I think you've probably read it. Yeah. Which is all about, reaching that plateau. And plateau is not just in training, in physical training. It's in life. Am I plateauing in life? And so oftentimes we don't push through to, earn to quit the job, to push to the next level, to go to that next level in the relationship, to ascend in different areas of our lives, because we feel maybe I don't want that pain again of having to go through another challenge. Well, let's just get honest. For those who are at the peak of their lives, who have the lifestyle that they want, that have an amazing relationship, that have an amazing business, that are in a job that really supports them, that they love, that came from making some uncomfortable decisions. And if you're listening to this right now, then you have gotten to where you've gotten to through, most likely, some difficult challenges. But in my opinion, continue to grow, continue to push, and just understand that there are going to be more challenges that come up. But those challenges are just going to stretch you more.
Yeah.
And when they stretch you, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, you become a different type of leader because you've experienced more, you've faced more, you're the one that's done what most people have not been willing to do. You've faced it, you've pushed through, and you've reached the other side. And now what you can do is you can reach down, you can see the eyes of the person who's struggling, and you can drag them right up to your level. And there's no better sense of satisfaction than that.
No, the helping and contribution are the biggest parts of fulfillment, I think. Mm-hmm. You've been very public with the goals that you've set yourself. Why is that?
Because I want to inspire people. I want people to know that anything is possible. And, whether I'm talking about a financial goal, a personal thing that I've achieved, then this is all about the feeling that I get of someone saying to me, Simon, you've changed my life. And so I feel that in order to do that, I need to be real about what I've achieved and what I've had to sacrifice in order to do that. So I will inspire people with the things I've achieved that I never thought I would. Because when people see that you're living it and not just taking a photo beside it because you've hired out a car, for example, let's be honest, people want nice things. People also want nice experiences, and also people want, lots of different things in all areas of their lives, because everyone gets stimulated by something different. And so I share all of that to inspire, and it all comes down to intent. What's the intent behind it?
Yeah, exactly. Your intent isn't to make people feel bad about not having it or to show off. It's to help people, and that's the big thing.
Well, here's the thing. There's always going to be an element of the market, or the element of the world, or a segment of people that are going to get jealous, that aren't going to like what you're doing, because they're on a different frequency and a different level. And so their natural thing to do is to blame, is to put other people down when they're doing well. But that very group is the group that we're saying not to spend our time around. So do not share your success, and do not share your growth, which is going to inspire a certain amount of people that are right to be inspired by it, because of a larger group of people who fit the segment of people that are never going to want to grow.
Yeah. And I think it's Seth Godin who speaks about not, or once you've got haters, it means you're doing something important.
Well, here's the thing, when I released the story about my drug addiction, the blog post is called "How to Kick a Filthy Cocaine Habit and Turn Your Life Around." I had fear about writing that, because I had fear around, people not wanting to hire me, not wanting to, be my friend, whatever, not being liked. But and that post sat in draft for probably about a month. And then when I really thought about it, I just thought about the one person that would read that would give up cocaine, and it would completely transform their lives. And when I focused on that one person and helping that person, do you know what? All of the other people, maybe even the hundreds that may have got frustrated by it, which is honestly just a BS thought. Okay, then again, it came down to intent, and that post was all about, if this just helps one person, it's done its job. And I don't care about all the other people that are going to judge me, potentially not hire me because they look down on me through a challenge that actually a lot of people have, and a lot of people are going through. Because let's be honest, everybody has challenges in their lives. Everyone has demons. Everyone has done things that they're ashamed of. Everyone has skeletons in the closet. It's just most people aren't willing to talk about it. And I set a standard within my industry, and also influence the leaders that I coach, to be authentic, to be raw, to be you. Because when you are you, and when you are just, do you know what? This is me. This is how I am now in the timeline of my life as I'm growing. Then I'm being congruent to myself. And therefore, I'm going to attract to me the people that are on my level, not put out a persona that's not me and then attract people to me based on the persona.
A lot of people will be listening to that and thinking, or might not be thinking, it might be subconscious, but they don't want to do that. Again, we get back to fear, the fear of being vulnerable. Yeah. What has been the biggest benefit to you of appearing vulnerable and showing your true self?
trust. Because when you're vulnerable, it builds radical, fast trust. And this isn't just in business, this is in your personal life. If you want to build a connection with someone and you want them to open up, the fastest way you're going to do that is to be vulnerable yourself. Exactly. And do you know what? And I talk about the three state. I talk about this with my clients, but it's also relevant to anybody, which is the three stages of vulnerability. The first stage is not being vulnerable, which is you're going to put across a persona of you, which is this tough, outer shell, hard, whatever. Oh, it might not be that. It might be the complete opposite. I don't know. The second stage is being vulnerable enough to talk about the things that you've overcome in the past, that you've solved, and now you're proud of. That's like the stage 2, and that's good because we are. It's my belief. We're here to serve others, and so being vulnerable is about inspiring others around the things that you've overcome, that you had going on. But not a lot of people like to talk about the fact that they were anorexic. Not a lot of people like to talk about the fact that they used to bully people at school because they were in pain. Not a lot of people like to talk about the fact that they went to prison. Not a lot of people like to talk about the fact that, they did some things to their partner and they cheated on them, But actually, I realized why, and now this is why I have an amazing relationship. So that's stage 2. So that's about the things that you've overcome, but you're willing to talk about. Most people can't get to stage 2 because of fear of judgment from others. But what I've learned is that the fear that you have of judgment from others is actually you're judging them. So if you flip it on its head, it's a very powerful flip. Because if you think about it, you're thinking to yourself, people are going to judge me, but are you not judging them? Because actually, the people that you fear are most likely going to be inspired. You don't know that to be true. The third stage is being willing to talk about the things that you're currently going through. And that's a very difficult stage for people to get to because it has another stage of fear. But when you're willing to talk about the things that you're currently going through, that builds even more trust. And also, what we have to understand about being vulnerable is it also gets you to solve your problem faster, because when you're vulnerable and people know about what you're currently going through, does that not bring into your environment people who could help you solve the problem? Of course. So you actually get to change your life faster by being vulnerable.
Exactly. That is pure gold there. That's perfect. So, especially with myself as well, I put out that video a while back, which lots of the people who are listening to this would have seen, and it was talking about me being bullied at school, me being depressed, and once I'd put that out there, again, it's as you pointed out, it's that level 2. Once I put that out there, the amount of support I had and other people coming to me saying that they were currently in the situation that I was in was huge, and it made that uncomfort, that fear of putting it out there, so worthwhile. Just know that I was helping the other people, and it's back to that contribution again.
But also the challenge, and here's the thing: the thing that you expressed and the thing that you shared, it also had an energetical block in your body which you got out by verbalizing it.
Yeah.
That negative energy which was locked in your body by not saying it could have potentially turned into a disease. Okay, so a lot of actual disease in the body is created by trauma in the past, created into negative energy, which then manifests itself into disease.
Yeah.
So by holding onto your problems, if anyone's listened to this, by holding onto your problems, by holding onto anger, by suppressing is such an important word in here, by suppressing things, you're hurting yourself, you're hurting other people because you're not sharing and being authentic. But most of all, it's gonna disable you. It's gonna literally stop you from potentially even moving your body because you're depressed. A lot of people who take their lives have suppressed so many things for so long, and they're so fearful of talking about them. And communication, in relationships, in business, in anything, and just being willing to go and talk is actually one of the best forms of therapy. So actually what I do with my clients, and and the video that you shared and the things, it's not just about the story and inspiring people and getting people to open up to you and message out to you. It's also a very important, powerful strategy which I use to help you and people who I coach unblock things from the past which could result in negative impact in the body, in health.
And this is something that even less than a year ago, I'd have gone, no, that's bullshit. That's not the way your body works. But there's been a few things that happened recently where I've this is coming from someone who was so skeptical, and if it wasn't provable in science, it wasn't true. But it's so plausible, so plausible. How do you go about reinforcing your mindset and your positivity on a day-to-day basis?
Meditation. Yeah. But I think the problem is, and if you've got listeners that have not done it before, there's a lot of negative associations to that word, which cause people to not start a process, which is actually just calming the brain and making people happy. If meditation was called something different, like happy time, I'm sure it would get a lot of more people enrolled. But meditation, I think, is it's been associated with something that's a little bit woo-woo, a little bit weird. People that just go into the forests and sit by trees and put their hands together. So it's not a alpha move. No. It's not that. But I'm sure you can give testament to this, and I can certainly say that meditation on a daily basis for me is really changed my life, because it calms me. And when you're calm and when you're happier and when the energy in your body is in a right, correct alignment, you can help more people, you can train harder, you can have a better relationship. And when you feel good and you've got more energy, lots of amazing things can happen, and it ultimately builds your confidence. When you've just had a conversation with a family member and they've really frustrated you, and you've got tension in your body and you're angry and you're sad, the people around you aren't going to draw to you. They're going to be repelled by you. And so it's all about, on a daily basis, even multiple times a day, bringing your body back into alignment so that you can feel good, feel calm. And from that place, you can actually start to make some great actions. But most people live in a place of stress, and they don't know how to calm themselves. And when people don't know how to calm themselves, it can lead to fights, it can lead to frustration, it can lead to destructive relationships, it can lead to businesses failing, it can lead to death. And so, just like brushing your teeth, to me, meditation is a daily practice which is non-negotiable, which is something which I teach my clients to help in their businesses, but also help them to become better leaders. Because I know that the profound impact and awakening which it's given me in my life, and it shifted me to a different level of consciousness. And if you study consciousness, and you study the different stages, then meditation plays a huge role in raising your consciousness, raising your frequency, and raising yourself to a different level.
That's perfect. Is there anything else you do on a daily basis to benefit your health?
Well, I'm eating a lot better now and training harder, which is always a good thing. I just think it's about consistency of multiple things. But if your head's in the wrong place, then the rest can't follow. Because if your mindset's not there, you're not going to want to train. You're not going to want to eat the right types of food. You want to want to go and drink alcohol. I gave up smoking, and I tried lots of different things, and I talked earlier about trying things at a different level. Do you know what helped me just actually give up smoking? It was just working on myself and meditating and becoming more centered, because smoking for me was actually about having a distraction there through social anxiety. So I would use that as a way for me to distract myself so that I could think about something different, and I just got into a negative habit. But as I worked on myself more and did more meditation and focused on me and self-developed, it naturally just disintegrated the desire. Just now, as alcohol is, I might have a drink occasionally, but when I do, I don't binge like I used to. It's just naturally disappeared because I've worked so much on myself and I've invested so much in myself in all areas of my life that those things which were normal habits to me, it wasn't like I just went cold turkey. It just disintegrated. I can't even remember how it's just through building and working on yourself, other parts of your life will start to radically change.
I think people will be able to tell that just from listening to you as well, and your story. It reinforces the fact that once you get that congruency from there.
No, just notice the patterns. Awareness is such a huge thing. It's recognizing. If you go out binging every weekend, that's not a positive. It's not having a positive impact on your life. It's a habit. It's a habit, and it's a habit of a circle of people that aren't most likely in alignment with where you want to get to.
Exactly. Is it right if we just finish off with 5 quick questions that I ask everyone?
For sure.
Yeah. I could happily go on speaking about this all day, but I know you've got places to be as well. So I'm really looking forward to your answer about this. What does it mean to you to be alpha?
To feel like I'm certain about where I'm going.
Perfect. What do your clients and your audience consider you world-class at?
Caring.
Perfect. I've done that one. What 3 things you do for everybody?
And results. Caring and results.
And I think you're going to have quite a big list here, but what are the most important books or book you've ever read?
Anything by Wayne Dyer. So Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, Power of Intention. Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. And Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And The Hungry Caterpillar.
My favourite. Everyone.
Well, I mean, I say that, but let's talk about that very briefly. As we get older and we become more, alpha, whatever, we can, and I've been guilty of this, and I'm still improving on this area. I think we can all be a little bit guilty of not tapping into the fun side of us. So actually, remembering and doing things like when you were a child and remembering all the fun things you used to do when you were a kid is a very powerful exercise, because sometimes we can lose that. And when you lose the fun side of you, that can affect other areas of your life. So, I say that book name, but it also brings back some really fond memories for me, and takes me back to when I was more playful, when I was maybe more happier, when I didn't experience the bullying. And even just sitting down and remembering those times in meditation, it gets you to feel different. And if you're in a relationship, and if you're in business, and or you're in your work, then it helps you to become a little more centered, a little bit more fun, and it's definitely not alpha to be fun, So, being strong, being congruent, being focused, being in purpose with your mission, which is very important, being alpha. I think it's very important to link it to the fun things that we've done, and remember those, because we can lose sight of that sometimes.
Exactly. That's something that's had such a huge impact on a lot of people that I've worked with, just me getting them to play and go outside and do things that you're designed to do, and just have fun and to relax as well. Okay. If you had one message to give to the world, what would it be?
Give back. Give back, because when you give back, you will be given back to too, but also, I was talking about it earlier, you impact 3 people. You impact yourself, you impact the receiver, and you impact the observers. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to give back. And we're here to help those that need a bit of a kickstart, a bit of a nudge, a bit of a breakthrough. It's sometimes tears well up in my eyes when I get the stories and of how much someone's shifted, and it really reminds me why I'm doing this, and why you're doing what you're doing, and why anyone can actually create an impact in anybody. You can do it today. You can go out and give a coffee away to someone and put a smile on their face, or you can not. It's just a choice, and all of it comes down to fear. It's not about the money. It's just about the fear. Because here's the thing: do you ever get that time? You ever get that time where you walk past that homeless person, for example, and you get that urge within you to give, but your brain takes over and tells you not to. They're going to spend it on like drugs. They're going to go and buy booze. Someone taught me an important lesson about giving back, which was the universe will reward you just for the act. So don't make judgment on others. Just do what naturally comes instinctively for you. And actually, Wayne Dyer's book, Power of Intention, is great for that. So as you walk past and you get the feeling from your gut, which is, I want to do this, recognize the gut feeling and ignore oftentimes the mind, which will stop you from doing it from the things that you've potentially told yourself. So very important. So that's a long-winded answer for you.
That's all right. That's fine. It's a perfect answer. Oh, thank you. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. It's been a real privilege to have you on. Where can people find out a bit more about you?
They can head to simonlovell.co.uk. Also fitpreneurs.com if you are a fitness professional. Check out some of my Facebook Live videos also, and also onto the blog. You can also add me Facebook, facebook.com/boylovell, BOYLOVELL.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, man, and I'll speak to you soon.
Take it easy.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Alpha Movement Podcast. Two things to remind you of. Firstly, on Thursday, 3rd March, 8 o'clock in the PM, we have Hacking Your Health in Limited Time, getting disgustingly strong, fit, healthy and confident with the minimum time invested. This is my workshop on how to get the most out of your training and nutrition if you have a very small amount of time to invest. Really recommend it. And the second thing is I've still got a 21-day free plan out there where we're going to put the foundations into your health by transforming your fitness and your health, your nutrition, and most of all your mindset. So if you're interested in either of those, I'll put links in the show notes, but you can head to alphamovement.co to find out more. If you want to revolutionize your body, mindset and health, head over to facebook.com/alphamovementofficial or alphamovement.co, where you will get exclusive content and be kept in the loop about upcoming guests. I'm always looking for people who have inspiring stories about fitness, mindset and what it takes to be alpha. If that sounds like you or someone you know, you can send your story to tom@alphamovement.co. This is a movement redefining what it means to be alpha through revolution of mindset and mastery of the physical body.